The Biden-Harris Refugee Resettlement Program is not your grandfather's refugee program, and I'm going to tell you why. You grew up thinking that refugees meant the most vulnerable people in the world, but not so much under the Biden-Harris administration. The left could never leave anything alone, and not even the U.S. Refugee Resettlement Program. Biden has reimagined U.S. refugees. You might have missed this, but the Biden-Harris administration in January 2023 created a program called the Welcome Corps. Under the Welcome Corps program, U.S. permanent residents, non-citizens, can recommend and sponsor non-citizens to be U.S. refugees. Yes, you heard that correctly. Non-citizens can sponsor non-citizens to become refugees in my America. Let's make an analogy that the liberal elites will understand. Imagine you are a member of a country club. You pay dues, and you enjoy all the benefits that come with being a member of that club. Then one day, you invite a guest to visit the country club, and then the guest invites another non-member to visit the club. And before you know it, the membership is irrelevant. Another member may then ask, how are you inviting people to the club? Are you a member? And the guest will say, no, but I'm a lawful permanent resident. The whole purpose of reimagining the U.S. refugee program is to demean and devalue what it means to become a U.S. citizen. Citizenship matters, borders matter. Having borders is a difference between having a country run by President Trump or by a Haitian warlord barbecue. I am sure that some of you are familiar with the recent Spirit Airlines flight that landed in Haiti and was immediately met with gunfire. And as I said, borders are important. In 2020, under President Trump, close to 12,000 refugees were admitted into the United States. But just this past year, under the Biden administration, the number of admitted refugees has ballooned to over 100,000 people, the highest number in 3 decades. Let me tell you about another Biden-Harris initiative for non-citizens. The Biden-Harris administration has the initiative for refugees called the New Americans Partnership, which is an initiative that fosters collaboration between housing agencies and refugee resettlement agencies to support the housing needs of said new Americans. New Americans? What about the Americans that are already here? Americans are dreamers too. Americans are refugees too. They're refugees of Democrat-run cities. Now, I am sure there are Americans living in Inglewood who would love to move to Beverly Hills. I'm sure there are Americans living in Harlem that would love to move to the Upper East Side. I am sure there are Americans living in the South Side of Chicago who would love to move to Lake Forest. Take a look at the last census. Americans are fleeing Democrat-run states for the haven of Republican states. Why is that? Under the Biden-Harris administration, Americans are left behind while the needs of new Americans are pushed to the front of the line of tax-paying Americans. There's a reason why President Trump won every swing state this year and the first Republican to win the popular vote in 20 years. Americans are sick and tired of being treated like second-class citizens in our own country. President Trump created opportunity zones for Black Americans. President Biden and Democrat mayors created opportunity zones for illegal immigrants. For the left, it's the new Americans first and Americans last. I've said this before, it's not the Great Replacement theory. This is the definition of the Great Replacement fact. The left wants to allow millions of people into this country, whether that be legally or illegally, so that United States citizenship means essentially nothing. In this country, we don't have Americans or old Americans or new Americans. We just have my fellow Americans. Now that President Trump is back, I'm happy to say that all American citizens will be treated with respect once again. And with that, I yield back my time. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
The gentleman yields back.